everyone, my name is Analyticalplum and welcome back to my channel. We are back with another special get to know me Q&A video. This kind of exists because I've recently hit 5,000 subscribers. I'm so incredibly thankful. So thank you all so much for sticking with me, being able to put up with me and my rambles. I'm so happy with the, community that we are building. And I asked if there was something special that you'd want me to do for hitting this good milestone. And you said about doing another Q&A so you can get to know me a little bit more as a person. So that is what we are going to be doing today. You all left me some questions, so now is the time where I'm going to be answering some. But before we begin answering some questions, I would love if you would consider subscribing. I do post twice every single week, but don't hold me to that. And if you do love my reaction videos and I didn't plan for this part, and you just want to leave a like, I would love if you would do that. And without further ado, let's get straight into answering some questions. This is going to be a variety of questions. They're not really in any particular order. So the first question is, what is my favorite kind of movie? See, growing up, I would always say an action or a comedy, and I feel like it hasn't really changed much. I do like my comedy movies. I absolutely adore fantasy as a genre. That's also one of the genres of books that I can't stop devouring. Literally my whole bookshelf is just fantasy. But I've kind of not really been as intrigued by action at the moment. I don't know, it's just kind of seeming quite dull and samey. And I also have a little bit of a guilty pleasure watch of romance sometimes, but that's not really often. I'm not really a one size fits all. It just depends on my mood really, but I'd say more kind of action and comedy and an adventure. I love a good adventure. What kind of pets do I have, if I have any at all? Currently where I am, there are no pets, but I absolutely adore animals. I love animals. I had cats growing up and I had a dog who sadly passed away. Funnily enough, that I named and is the same name as my fiance, which is kind of a bit ironic that that end up happening. But my dad and his partner and my nan, they recently got two puppies, two little staffs that I think are absolutely adorable. So I'm kind of claiming them as my own on their behalf. And they call them my brothers anyway, so they're basically a part of the family. Which football team do you root for and why is it Liverpool? By the way, love the channel, keep it up. Thank you very, very much. So my favourite sports team is Tottenham. No, I'm joking. I'm absolutely joking. It's West Ham. I am a West Ham girly. My many reasons why I'm a West Ham girly. First of all, some people with my family are West Ham supporters. The rest are Arsenal, so it's a bit of a battle between us sometimes. I grew up near some of these significant areas. I'm not going to explicitly say it. But yeah, I just have a lot of connections, and my fiance is a massive West Ham supporter. I never really was into football. It was mainly on the newspaper. You know, at the back they have the football section, and I saw a lot of broken bones and it genuinely scarred me for life. I was like, no way, I'm not watching that. But I got into it during lockdown and I've honestly been really addicted ever since. I have more of an interest in it now than I think anyone else in my family. But yeah, no, I am a West Ham supporter. But congrats on your new trophy, Liverpool. The next is, what is my favourite Lego set? I don't really know, if I'm honest with you. It's got to be something that I have, surely. To be fair, it could be a UCS set. Do I have the money for that? No. But is it quite good? Yes. I quite like, I call him Petey Piranha, but you know the piranha plant from Mario? I really love that. And you can even put little coin slots in it and everything. I love it. I've got the llama from Fortnite. That was a really fun build, although a bit tedious because it was a load of those little cheese pieces. And I have a few Harry Potter sets. I love Animal Crossing. I've got a few of their sets. What else? Oh, I've got the talking hat from Harry Potter that actually speaks, that I think is incredible. It has about like, I think 60 different voice lines. Basically, bottom line is I don't really have a favourite. They're all so good. Hopefully you'll accept that answer. What is my favourite Star Wars film and why? I would have to say, I think Revenge of the Sith. Bit of a common answer, but I am obsessed with the era it's in, and I don't know, I suppose maybe it's because it's one of the ones I remembered the most growing up, because I was actually alive and had a bit of consciousness at that point. So maybe it's nostalgia. I just think all of the lightsaber fights are iconic. Obviously Grievous is my all-time favourite, so that's an extra bonus. Seeing the final step, Anakin turning into Vader, I just think it's iconic. Like, I can never get bored of that movie. It's just, it hits the spot for me. If you could wipe your memory and and rewatch a movie for the first time, what would it be? Oh. Despite having a reaction channel, I'm not actually a big movie watcher. That's part of the reason why I started this channel, because it gets me to watch things that I wouldn't get round to watching because I find it hard to sit still sometimes. What movie would it be? I'd have to say something like maybe Emperor's New Groove. I love Emperor's New Groove. Oh, maybe Hunger Games, especially when they're like, there is no District 12. Little me had absolute goosebumps during that moment. I think at the top of my head, it's probably gonna have to be one of those. Am I a gamer? What is my favorite game and why? And also, would you ever start a gaming channel? Yes, I am a massive gamer. I've literally grown up playing on games. Had the Cube, had the PlayStation, Xbox 360, all of it. The Wii. Oh, I remember my dad having that little PSP, and I love this specific comic book game. I don't remember the name of it. But yeah, no, I've always been a pretty good gamer, basically thanks to my dad. It was something we always did growing up. It was just something that I fell into, and it was our bonding thing. Favorite game? One of my all-time favorite game series is Borderlands and Dishonored. Dishonored was actually one of my first games I ever finished completed on my own. It's kind of like the whole fantasy aspect again. I don't know, I just love it, and it drew me in. If you don't know already, I am a big history nerd, including that kind of aspect in with it. I don't know, it's just my kind of game. Borderlands, I absolutely love Borderlands. I've played literally basically every game, I think. Might be some DLCs that I haven't. But yeah, I love the humour. Again, there's a fantasy aspect to that. I have a lot of good fun memories with those games. In response to the gaming channel, I don't know if I'm good enough to play games and have people invested the whole time. I love games. I love story games. I don't know if I would create a whole separate channel for it. If I do, I think I would keep it to this channel. But if that is something you'd be interested in, that is something that I would do in the future. It's something that I really did want to do growing up. I tried to give it a go on Twitch at some point, but my internet sucked too much for that. But I don't know, maybe that's something we could see in the future if that is something you want to see from me. Could your fiance join you in all your Star Wars reactions from now, because he's such a chill dude and reminds me of Kanan a bit? Yeah, I mean, definitely not personality wise. I get what you're trying to say. Yes, he'll definitely be coming back. He is, if you've seen, is a massive Star Wars fan, even bigger than me. He absolutely grew up obsessed with it. He really enjoys it, and he seemed to enjoy reacting to things with me. He will definitely be back for more, and when we get some more trailers, then I'll drag him back. If you were to only eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? Should I say one healthy and one unhealthy? Because I don't think I can decide on like all food. One healthy-ish thing. I'm obsessed with carrots. I love carrots. I was basically Bugs Bunny growing up. I would fully just eat carrots for the rest of my life. I love it. Unhealthy, it would probably just have to be chocolate chip cookies. I am too obsessed. It's actually really bad. Especially white chocolate or triple chocolate. They get to me every time. What is my favorite TV show so far that I have reacted to on the channel? Oh, what would I decide? I'm gonna have to say it's probably gonna be Andor or Daredevil, because they were such massive shows that I got really invested in, and I'd say definitely Andor takes the cake over Daredevil. But the emotions that I went through, it was actually insane. Like towards the end, I was fully felt like I was gonna burst into tears. I feel like sometimes people don't get my humor because with the band or baby, I was making jokes about them being an established character, but that was just me trying to not get sad. I say a lot of silly things sometimes just because why not? Do you like scary movies or TV shows? I actually really do like scary movies. Well, the whole scary genre, like playing scary games as well, is one of my favorite. Whenever I go around to my dad and his partner, whenever they play a scary game and they can't get past a certain bit because they're too scared, they always just throw me in on it and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. No, I don't know why. I've always had a bit of a fascination, even though I'm not the scariest person. Not scariest. I'm not scary. I'm the scaredest person ever. But I'm absolutely terrified of the dark. I have to have these lights on at night time. I'm petrified. My imagination is too mad. Yeah, it's one of my top genres, definitely. Do you have any other hobbies that you enjoy? Yeah, I do actually. So I love reading, as I mentioned before, fantasy. Oh, I love painting. I have such a fixation at the moment on paint by numbers. I know it's not exactly the most typical art way to go about it, but I just don't want to think. There's been so many times where I've drawn and I've painted and I'm like, no, that looks so bad, I can't even continue. But with this, it tells me where to put the paint and where the colours are supposed to be, and I can just switch off without critiquing everything because I am such a bad critique of myself. But I love doing that. I used to be a dancer. I have since stopped, but that used to be a massive thing that I used to do. I suppose that's it really. I like to take walks because there's some cows that roam around nearby, so I try and see them whenever I can. And yeah, playing games, especially like with my partner or my dad, is really fun. If you could have a droid companion, who would it be? So I think the most fun droids to have around, it would have to be between Chopper and a B1. But the reason why I can't decide between the two is because Chopper's absolutely chaotic, and I feel like if I were to leave him for a moment, then everything will be set on fire or exploded. I absolutely love B1s. They're some of my favorite parts of Star Wars, and whenever I see them, I get just like a massive excitement well up inside of me. I just think they're hilarious. If I could have a B1 friend, I would be so happy with life. What's a movie that will never get old no matter how much you watch it? I have a list of my favorite shows and movies on my phone for moments like these where I just go completely blank, but I'm recording with my phone so I can't even check. What are my favorite movies? I'd have to say Revenge of the Sith. I mentioned earlier, I just, no matter how much I watch it, it's still top tier. I'm not going to say anything Christmas or Halloween related because that's to get me excited for the season. It needs to be separate from that. I have loads of shows that I whack on, but I can't think about movies. I'm probably just gonna have to go with something like Emperor's New Groove or Tangled. I love Tangled. Or Hercules. I'm obsessed with Hercules. Anything non-Disney. I don't know. See, my mind's going blank. I have so many I'm obsessed with. Hunger Games. This will be the last question. What Star Wars character or characters would you like to see get a Tales of story at some point? Oh, can I say Grievous? Is that allowed? That will be my top pick. I want to see more Grievous. Do you know what would be so cool actually is if we saw Grievous at like more of the beginning of his life, because we've seen him as a droid, we've seen him as a part cyborg, but we've never seen him before he was a bit of a mess. So I think either that, or I would have said Cad Bane, but we've just had that. Or I think it would be really cool to get a bit of a Tales of Clones. And before you shout at me, but we've had Clone Wars. I meant like post Clone Wars. I suppose kind of like when we see in Rebels, we get a glimpse of a few of the clones in there. I would like to see them during that gap, how they get on, because there was a whole like clone retirement process. I think it was in Bad Batch season 2 that I don't remember the resolution of. Just really curious to see what ended up happening with all of them, because we got so many that have gone rogue, including Cody. He's MIA at the moment, but I just think it would be a nice way to get a little bit more for those who are obsessed with Clone Wars, basically. So I think that will be it for the Q&A today. I've spoken so much for quite a bit on a row that I sound like a 40-year-old smoker. I never usually talk this long. I'm actually really quiet. But yeah, I really hoped you enjoyed this video and you learned something new about me. I would absolutely love to get to know all of you as well. So if you leave a few fun facts about yourself in the comments, I would absolutely love that. That will be all from me today. Thank you so much for watching. Here's to the next good milestone, and I'll see all of you in my next one.